All right, so let's start the actual configuration of an enterprise class distribution. Now, this doesn't mean that our last one isn't exactly enterprise class, but this is enterprise class with an external radius server. Now, in this case, we are going to use what's known as ICE, Cisco's Identity Services Engines, as our example. Now, one thing to note is ICE is Cisco's radius server. There are other radius servers out there that you can use, okay? But ICE is Cisco's version. So here, one of the first things we have to do is create users, right? So here you can see we are actually creating network users right here. That's the screen where we're doing it. This is done through the administration, identity management, identities, and users. So we can actually create them here. You can see the name, the status, email, password, all the information for this radius server right here for a particular user. That's not all we have to do. So that's the users. We're setting up users. This radius server. That's not all we have to do. We actually have to do a little bit more. We have to now make sure that the ICE server is aware that a connection is coming from our wireless LAN controller, because our wireless LAN controller is going to ping this radius server, right? It's going to try and create a connection so it can authenticate users. We have to make this server aware of that. In order to do that, we go to Administration, Network Resources. You can see right there, Network Resources, and Network Devices. Once we have network devices, we need the wireless LAN controller name. Maybe you put in a light description of physically where it is. We need the IP address, the management IP address, and net mask. This is a net mask of our wireless LAN controller. So where is this connection coming from? ICE has to be aware of that, okay? Then we have to make sure that we have our shared secret. The radius is aware that we have a shared secret with the wireless LAN controller. That's how we know that this radius server is who it says it is, and that wireless LAN controller is who it says it is. Now, is this all we have to do? No, because now we have to point the wireless LAN controller back to that server. And how do we do this? Again, this is through the security AAA setting. When we get to the radius security AAA setting, that's when we're actually going to set up the server that we're connecting to here, okay, in this list. Also, radius authentication servers, we're going to have to edit this. We're going to have to put in the shared secret. We're going to have to confirm that secret. We're going to have to list out what we're using. So let's go ahead and take a look at our environment and how this is set up. First up, security, our radius server, authentication. So we can see here we have different authentications available. Flex, VLAN IP, AP, label, all these things here are accounting. So accounting station by MAC identifier, all those things are fallback to our radius servers, our DNS, our downloaded AVP list. But we're not using that right now. We need to go to accounting. Now, accounting is where we're actually going to set up our radius accounting server. So which servers are we using? We're going to have to click new here because I don't have one in my environment. We can see the index priority. What's the priority of this particular server? We're going to put in what? The IPv6 or IPv4 address of the radius server. Let's say in my environment, that's 10.0.0.10. I'm just throwing in numbers here. That's not actually it. My shared secret. Remember, I set up on the other side. We talked about this. The radius shared secret. We're going to match this on this side. Okay. In reality, mine would be a lot longer than this. I'm just doing this for the demo. Our port number we're using, the server status, if it's enabled or disabled, our server timeout. If I lose connectivity for X amount of time, I want to time out of this connection and have to reestablish our tunnel proxy or IPsec. Now, is this all we're doing? Am I set up once I do this? No, because we have to apply this to a particular wireless LAN in my environment. Once we do this, we select this. Remember, we're in the security tab. We're in AAA servers. Then we can select the server that we set up. Right now, I don't have any. Why is that? Because we didn't set one up when we were in security. So let's go back, let's go to accounting, let's actually set up that server, see if it changes things for us. So server IP address 10.0.0.10. Let's say this is disabled because I don't want to ping it right now. The shared secret, we'll put that in and we'll apply. Now this is actually done, admin status disabled. Let's go ahead and, let's not remove it. Okay, so it's all set up. Let's go to our wireless LAN. Let's look at, we'll dive into this wireless LAN now. We have our security setting. We're at layer 2. Let's look at our AAA servers. Let's see. Oh, there it is. There's our AAA server listed right there. Now we can set that up for our RADIUS authentication. Okay. Now we have our LDAP servers. We can point to an LDAP server if we had one configured. I don't. Local EAP authentication is automatically removed at this point when I selected this server because we're no longer doing local. We're doing external. All right. But I still have the order used for authentication. I can still point to my local server. So very interesting configuration. That's how you would do it in your environment. Set up your RADIUS server, go out and point to that RADIUS server from our security point, and then come and apply that security to our wireless LAN. It's fine. A wireless LAN controller can be connected to a RADIUS server, but use local authentication for a particular wireless LAN. Remember, each wireless LAN is completely different from the next. We're going to have different settings in each one of those. So you have to be aware which wireless LAN requires RADIUS authentication and which one you don't want RADIUS authentication.